Hi, my name is Wyatt Jones. I'm a freshman theater major at Middle Tennessee State University, and I am in the Stage Director and Choreographer Society's Directing Initiative, directing a scene from RX Machina. RX Machina presents a very simple story. It's simply the story of manipulation using sexual acts to get something out of another person. The story itself is so applicable to so many different places that it feels timeless. And so, putting it in a modern setting makes it feel something akin to a modernized Shakespeare piece. What I think sets RX Machina apart most, though, is just how modern it is. It takes this simple, timeless story and puts it into the mid 2010s. With the setting, the main two characters become two women, one not comfortable with her sexuality, and the other very proud of it. The setting becomes a pain management clinic amidst the opioid crisis. The characters become a young doctor and a drug sales rep. And of course, with the setting of the opioid crisis, there is absolutely demand for treading lightly on some of the issues. This is somewhere I feel the play falls short a bit, somewhere that I feel that my direction can aid. Although I don't have a lot of personal experience with drug addiction, alcoholism is something that runs in my family. I've seen how it affects people. I've had family members who have gone to rehab, and I've had family members who have refused to. I've seen addiction firsthand and the way it affects people, and I feel like that makes me equipped to be able to give the parts in the play about addiction the gravity they need. The way addiction affects people is very scary, and so playing this realistically with the characters both of Hannah and Stevie, who have problems with addiction in the play, will add a lot of gravity and add impacts to the decisions that the other characters are making that put them in these situations. So, if I were able to produce the full play, what would my ideal production look like? I think I would want my production of RX Machina to be in a studio theater with audience on three sides of the stage. This way, the audience is very close to the characters and is able to feel some of those emotions. I don't think that a full cross section set is important for this play. I think that using less than that and having some sort of open, vague space will help to blur lines between spaces the same way that the characters blur the lines between them in their heads. Because, Nina and Marin are very much not drawing the line between work and personal lives super well, and so having that in the same open space in the actual production will add more of that feeling to it. I think that with spaces, I would want to see one wall sort of as a backdrop, and for the size of the space to be represented with an outline on the floor created by lights or some sort of projection so that the audience can understand how big or small of a space without the space being closed off. I think something I would really love to do with this play is use lighting to affect the way the characters see the setting. In the script for the play, it's mentioned that the lights when Nina's in her office and anywhere in the clinic are very harsh hospital lights. And I think that having that and having the spaces that are, rather than part of work life, part of the personal life, use warmer, dimmer light rather than harsh, bright. That will help to differentiate between those two and between the feeling of those two. And playing with that when the lines start to blur, let the lights signify that by maybe mixing some of the colors or putting warm light where it should be more cold and putting cooler light into some of the personal life settings. So, like having Stevie and Marin's apartment being more cold light would help signify that they both bring a lot of their work into their personal lives. And to further demonstrate that sort of mixture of personal life and work life, we're using some props and set pieces that were used in the clinic. Like, I had the idea, it states in the script that the cloth from the cabaret table is used as the sheet for Nina's bed. Um, and I think maybe that sheet could be draped over a desk from the clinic or the examination table, sort of to represent that mixing of personal and work life in the moments where Marin and Nina are having their relationship. I would like to use Hunger by Florence and the Machine There's some lines in there that really pertain to the events of the play, and I think using that as the music in Hannah's dance routine would be very appropriate in the way that Hunger is sort of a fast-paced, kind of intense song. Um, that would contrast well with the meditation music in scenes where Hannah is on stage alone meditating. Allow me to take you back to a time I remember very well. Is that the is that the font we decided to go with? I feel like yeah, no, yeah, that's it's a lot more accurate. 2015, the year of Google says that 2015 was the year of the goat. I don't know what that means. 2015 was the year that introduced the Paris Climate Agreement. It was the year that marked the end of the Hunger Games quadrilogy and saw the beginning of a brand new Star Wars trilogy. And of course, 2015 was the year of the Whip Nene. Though there were many highs in 2015, it was also the beginning of the third wave of the opioid crisis. The opioid crisis is an epidemic of addiction and overdose involving opiate drugs. The opioid crisis has killed over 600,000 people. It is believed by many that the opioid epidemic is a product of pharmaceutical corporations pushing to sell more opiate products in order to make more money. Arch Machina follows a pharmaceutical sales rep that works for one of these corporations, and a doctor who ends up overprescribing opioid medication at the suggestion of this sales rep. These two characters, Nina, the doctor, and Marin, the sales rep, are the main two characters. They have the most stage time as the show's written, and they are the most important to the central plot. But I don't like them. I mean, Marin is a pharmaceutical sales rep. She's supposed to be a bad person. And Nina, in the play, put lives at risk in order to please Marin. So these two characters aren't supposed to be good. But the issue for me is that these characters don't get redeemed at all. There's no consequences for them. And so I don't find them to be very interesting characters. But you know who are a couple of really interesting characters? Hannah, and Stevie, and Deb, the other three characters. The way to best articulate the way this play made me feel is to talk about these three characters who I think are the life of the show. First up, let's talk about Stevie. Stevie, more than anyone in this show, is the victim. Stevie is a photographer. This is why I picked this picture of a person taking a picture. What else was I supposed to do? And Stevie lives with Marin. And Stevie is cheated on by Marin, lied to over and over again by Marin. And Stevie did absolutely nothing to deserve this. Let me tell you, Stevie is an angel. Stevie's last goodbye, the finishing blow she gives Marin, is simply after Marin says, "But you're my person." Stevie replies, "That's a pretty fucked up way to treat your person." I think that that's wonderful. With interactions between Stevie and Marin, you can tell that Stevie is being manipulated. And even that small line, that small little bit, that's something that takes a lot to say for some people, especially in that situation, and that's just so kick ass. Next up, Deb. You'll love her. She's quite a kooky character. She runs the pain management clinic that Nina works at. And every week, they have a weekly meeting at the pain management clinic. And every single time, Deb's got a new way of saying hello. Starting off, Deb's got a simple first line. It is just, "Good morning, everyone." Good has a total of 6 O's. Her next greeting is, "Heidi ho, Rangerinos." Deb, "I come bearing news." "Good morning, starshines." The earth says hello. "Howdy doody, my little sunshines." "Hola, hola, Coca-Colas." She made that up. That's A-tier writing. Come on. And finally, last, but absolutely not least, Hannah. Hannah, throughout the play, visits Nina in her office. She suffered, I think, an ankle injury while dancing some time ago, and she's taking opioids for that. Hannah is the ground view of the story. She's the only person who isn't a part of the medical field. And Hannah is the representation for an opioid addict. She is very much playing off the fact that she's an addict very well. Having seen addicts in person, they will absolutely not admit they're an addict. And an addict will go to any means necessary to convince you of that fact. At the very end of the play, Hannah dies from a drug overdose. I think that in order to make the show more impactful, there needs to be some more attention drawn to Hannah. I think that Hannah needs to be the focus of the story just as much as Marin and Nina's relationship.